Welcome to This Week, a weekly news review program. I'm your host, Ulaanbaatar. Today we'll talk about coronavirus status and vaccination progress in Mongolia, what happened in politics, economy situation, and other news. 1,356 new cases of COVID-19 have been confirmed from 22nd to 26th of March, and 670 people have recovered and were transferred to home isolation. 63,000 were tested during that period, and as of Friday, the total number of cases is now 6,332, of whom 4,150 people have fully recovered. 145 new cases have been reported in 11 provinces. Out of 2,164 patients who are currently undergoing treatment, 7 are in critical condition. As of March 26, 59,814 people had been vaccinated over the last 5 days. The vaccination progress has become more active, with more than 10,000 people being vaccinated per day. 644 doctors and staff worked at 39 immunization points, including employees of public and private enterprises and organizations that need to continue their operation. Government of Mongolia aims to immunize 2 million people over the age of 18. More than 1 million people are being expected to be vaccinated at the end of May, and to reach 60% of population by the 1st of July. Since the start of vaccination of February 23rd, a total of 256,979 at-risk and targeted groups have been vaccinated. The Prime Minister of Mongolia, held weekly meeting with the immunization working group headed by the Minister of Finance this week. The meeting covered updates on the immunization campaign, vaccine procurement, the current supply of vaccines, and proposals from private companies to take part in the campaign. The meeting was also attended by the Deputy Prime Minister, Minister of Health, Minister of Foreign Affairs, and other officials. To date, a total of 509,000 doses of 4 different vaccines have been imported to Mongolia: AstraZeneca from South Korea and India, Vericell from China's Sinopharm, Sputnik V from Russia, and PFIZER BioNTech from the COVAX program. So far, 256,979 individual doses have already been administered. According to a survey of people who have been vaccinated, more than 40% had a normal immune response, such as a slight fever, and no serious complications or side effects have been recorded. Mongolia's immunization rate ranks second among countries in the Asia-Pacific region and 17th out of 146 countries in the world that have been administering COVID-19 vaccines, twice the global average of 6.2%. Currently, 13 vaccines have been introduced worldwide, 108 days after the launch of the world's first COVID-19 immunization campaign, 25 days after the launch of the COVAX program, and 32 days after the first shot was administered in Ulaanbaatar. Mongolia has managed to vaccinate an average of 12 to 20,000 people a day. Second doses will be given 28 to 56 days apart, and it is estimated that 1 million people in Ulaanbaatar will be vaccinated by June 1st. Vaccine procurement proposals have been submitted to neighboring countries, and negotiations are ongoing. An AstraZeneca vaccine purchase is being negotiated with India. Minister of Finance Zhao stated there will be no delays in financing the procurement of additional vaccines. Minister of Foreign Affairs announced that Mongolia has agreed to purchase 1 million doses of Sputnik V vaccine, which was being negotiated from purchase from Russia. Russia has a lot of orders, and an official letter from the Prime Minister and Deputy Prime Minister has shown results. Minister has also expressed her gratitude to the Russian government for resolving the issue. The Cabinet of Mongolia convened on March 25th and discussed several issues. Deputy Prime Minister and the Chairman of the National Emergency Commission, Amr Sakhan, introduced the current COVID-19 status in Mongolia. The draft budget for additional expenditures related to measures for tackling the spread of COVID-19 and the draft resolution to extend to high level of preparedness for another month were discussed and approved. A team consisting of 25 medical professionals and experts conducted a risk assessment and concluded that the COVID-19 risk status in Mongolia is very high. Therefore, the government of Mongolia issued a resolution to expand the high level of preparedness period from March 31st to April 30th, 2021. In addition, the measures to be taken at the border crossing were amended, and as a result, until May 1st, freight traffic will continue as normal at 14 border crossings and passenger traffic will be prohibited. Passengers wishing to cross the border will need the permission of the NEC. In addition, 5.9 billion MNT for additional costs to fight against the spread of COVID-19 was approved. The additional budget will provide 3.9 billion MNT to medication, medical supplies, fuel, food, stationery, and disinfectants for 773 resident doctors and 227 family health center doctors who will be mobilized for home monitoring and surveillance. Moreover, traditional gears will be provided to 80 families affected by recent natural disasters. According to the Mongolian Meteorological and Environmental Research Agency, due to the snow and dust storms that hit 134 SUMs of 16 provinces on March 30th, a total of 531 gears were seriously damaged and people were left without shelter. Therefore, based on the request received by the NEMA, it was decided to provide 80 gears worth 280 million MNT to households in Arkhanga, Dontgo, Orkhanga and Bolgon provinces and to families in the suburbs of Ulaanbaatar. On 24th of March, 25,740 doses of Pfizer BioNTech vaccine were received as a part of the COVAX program. According to the General Agency of Specialized Inspection, 25,740 doses of Pfizer BioNTech vaccine have been delivered under the COVAX program. The vaccine was inspected, disinfected and transferred to the National Center for Communicable Diseases Vaccine Center. A month has passed since the first public immunization against COVID-19 was launched in Mongolia, and as of today, more than 250,000 people have been vaccinated nationwide. Mongolia received the first batch of 14,400 doses of AstraZeneca vaccine on December 12 as part of the COVAX program. The next 98,400 doses will be delivered in the coming months. Under the program, which aims to ensure equal access to vaccines, up to 20% of Mongolia's population will be vaccinated. Currently, Mongolia has received 4 different types of vaccines from donor countries, including Sinovac and Sputnik V. According to health professionals, Pfizer BioNTech vaccine will be given to senior citizens 65 years old and above and people with disabilities. As the number of domestic cases of COVID-19 steadily increases, the number of people visiting hospitals to get tested is also growing, causing additional load on hospitals and medical centers. According to the latest regulations, people attending funerals and leaving for other provinces should get tested for COVID-19. The appointment time for a PCR test is provided through an online system. However, related officers note that PCR testing slots are fully booked for the upcoming 2 weeks. Citizens administered vaccine shots and people applying for medical treatments will be tested at the particular hospitals, informs the capital city health department, and proposals were already submitted to the Ministry of Health. In order to facilitate the access to medical services, proposals were submitted to the Ministry of Health. Notably, citizens who need immediate medical treatment at hospitals should be tested for PCR at the venue. While PCR tests won't be demanded from patients in ambulatory care, however, they should follow all precautionary measures. The load on the testing venues should not exceed 400 appointments per day. However, over the last few weeks, PCR testing venues daily tested 500 to 600 people per day. 70 to 80% of tested people were traveling to provincial areas for different reasons. In addition, a growing number of first and second contacts of confirmed cases are adding to the load on testing venues, note medical workers. In addition, a growing number of first and second contacts of confirmed cases are adding to the load on testing venues, note medical workers. Close contacts of confirmed cases often do not register for PCR testings through the online system, which causes additional difficulties for medical staff. A long queue outside the PCR test venues itself causes a potential risk of contracting the COVID-19 virus as people fail to maintain social distancing, doctors add. This week, Mongolia has recorded the highest number of daily infections. Despite the request of medical experts, the National Emergency Commission hasn't made the decision to tighten the emergency regime. But if the situation worsens, there is a possibility of imposing yet another 2 weeks lockdown in April. A 4.7 earthquake hit central Mongolia on 23rd of March at around 10:46 p.m. local time. The quake occurred at a shallow depth of 10 kilometers and about 160 kilometers south of Ulaanbaatar, the capital city of Mongolia. Ulaanbaatar citizens felt the tremor, describing light to moderate shaking, and most of these were reported from the capital city. Based on all available data, the quake was felt up to a radius of 350 kilometers from the epicenter. Many people reported that they felt their bed or couch shaking. Hanging appliances were also rattling during the quake. However, there were no immediate reports of significant damage. This quake was unusual as it did not occur in any known faults or volcanic areas in the country. The epicenter plotted approximately 400 to 500 kilometers north of the main Mongolian alignment. Most of the tectonic activities in the country are usually focused in the northern and western regions. The most recent strong quake hit the country earlier this year. It struck with a magnitude of 6.8 right under the Lake Huskut in northern Mongolia near the Russian-Mongolian border. Shallow earthquakes are felt more strongly than deeper ones as they are closer to the surface. Magnitude and other quake parameters could still change in the coming hours. The Monetary Policy Committee of Bank of Mongolia took into consideration the current state and outlook of the economy and financial markets, the uncertainties and risk inherent in the domestic and external environment, and decided to keep the policy rate unchanged at 6% and to issue up to 350 billion MNT under the long-term repo financing in the second quarter of 2021. The financing has been expanded to involve in businesses in processing, service sectors and trade businesses with more than 200 employees. If the immunization campaign continues successfully, economy activity is expected to increase, with businesses returning to normalcy. According to the latest data, in the first 2 months of 2021, exports grew by 73%. This step-by-step implementation of monetary policy measures and the adoption of new financing instruments by the central bank directed at mitigating the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic will contribute to decelerate the pace of domestic economic downturns, facilitating recovery and ensuring the stability of the banking sector. Now let's take a look at other news that happened this week. The Champions and Veterans Committee, which was formed under the auspices of the AIBA in December last year, consists of respected worldwide veterans and champions in boxing. Patrogan, the Olympic champion and the boxer of 2008, has been appointed as a member of this committee. With the AIBA currently suspended by the International Olympic Committee, which is instead overseeing the boxing contest at this year's Olympics itself, the 7 panels have been established to ensure good governance. Uram Krimlyov, president of the International Boxing Association, appointed Patrogan as a member of the new Champions and Veterans Committee. Patrogan is the winner of the Beijing 2008 Summer Olympic Games, the best boxer in the world in 2008, and the vice president of the Mongolian Boxing Association and secretary general of the Mongolian Olympic Committee. Krimlyov officially announced the appointment of Ikhwat Patrogan on Wednesday. Olympic champion has become a member of the commission, and for the first time Mongolian is committed to holding a responsible position in the International Boxing Federation. YOKOZUNA KAKURYU sumo champion and winner of 6 top division titles retired Wednesday after missing a 5th straight tournament due to injury. The retirement of the Mongolian-born wrestler was approved the same day by the Japan Sumo Association. YOKOZUNA KAKURYU, whose real name is Mangel Anut, has long been dealing with elbow and lower back pain and recently announced he would sit out the ongoing Spring Grand Sumo tournament because of a left hamstring strain. The surprise retirement announcement came less than 2 weeks after KAKURYU told his stable master Michinoku that he is not ready to retire yet. Michinoku told reporters at the time that he had confirmed the wrestler's desire to keep fighting. In November, KAKURYU, as well as fellow Mongolian-born Yokozuna Hakko, received stern warnings from the Japan Sumo Association over their absences from the ring. The admonition was the harshest that Japanese Sumo Association's Yokozuna Deliberation Council can make short of recommending a wrestler to retire. It came a month after KAKURYU acquired Japanese citizenship, which will allow him to remain in Japan and run his own stable of wrestlers after retirement. He will retain his wrestler's name for his Tashiori name as a sumo elder. KAKURYU made his sumo debut in November 2001 and was promoted to Yokozuna in the spring of 2014. He is the first sumo grand champion to retire since Kisena Sato in 2019. Well, that's all for this week. We will see you next week with more news and updates. Have a nice weekend. Goodbye.